this car might not be as Harrier as you think.
This is the 2016 Toyota Harrier, and in this video I'll tell you everything about it, why I think you should buy it, why I think you shouldn't buy it, the different features that it has, and one interesting discovery as to why it may not be as the Harrier as it's supposed to be.
Toyota Harrier has a number of different styles, okay, and this is where Toyota didn't think about us in this continent, because the entry level is the one that is the highest. When you go to the premium and the premium plus, you find that they've got a larger, lower profile tires, and also they've got sort of extended bumpers, which make it a lower vehicle. And yet some people might want the higher trim, but if you want the higher trim, then you might have to compromise on ground clearance and of course price of tires. You can get this Harrier in either a two-wheel drive version or a four-wheel drive version. I don't understand why the four-wheel drive version is kind of taxed a bit too high, so you find that most people buy the two-wheel drive, because prices for 2016 will start from about 76 million going up depending on mileage and condition. This third generation design or silhouette started in 2013 December, so they all look like this from 2013 until about 2016, this design, and then 2017 there are a few changes that come at the front and on the back side, but they're pretty much similar until 2020. This Harrier is very interesting in the way that it comes with different specs and trims. The Harrier is one of those vehicles that you find yourself buying if, in quotes, you can't afford the Prado and you don't like the RAV4, but you want an SUV and you want a Toyota SUV and something that will sort of complement your status or your kind of lifestyle. And so these cars usually get so popular in different age brackets and different categories of people. You find the elderly driving them, the really young people driving them, but mostly lately I've seen, I think, ladies drive the Harrier. And one of the selling points for the Harrier is actually the, like the GLE coupe Benz. There's that thing that attracts ladies, I don't know what, but this coupe kind of design, and the Harrier kinda tried to get that here. And so you find that in this design of the third generation Harrier, you find that it has more of a sloping rear, and if you look at this, for example, this area, it really gets that appealing look that a lot of people will easily buy into. I'm going to talk quickly about the engines and performance and different things that you can get under the hood of the Toyota Harrier, and I'm going to talk 2016 because this is what we have here, okay, but you can get it in 2017 or so. Now, this is the elegance. It comes with thicker profile tires if you look down there, and then the premium comes with a slightly lower profile tire, and then the premium plus, you find that it got it's got those extended bumpers, and it's generally got it kind of lowers the ground clearance. And it's my complaint, because I feel like Toyota by now should know that, by that time should have known that, when people are done driving their cars in Japan, they might find their ways here, and our roads may not be very favorable for some of the vehicles. This elegance model will come with a 2-liter naturally aspirated engines, and you can get it in either two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. The four-wheel drive could cost you maybe about 6 million more than the two-wheel drive. Then we've got the hybrid, and the hybrid is, if you really are a city kind of person, like you never ever get out of the city and you just really sit alone in traffic jam, you never like to wake up early, you like to leave work on time, you like to sit, you have no issue sitting in traffic jam, the Harrier hybrid might be the best option for you, especially if you're looking for a very minimal fuel economy. However, as we all know, hybrids require a bit more maintenance than the naturally aspirated or other vehicles because of the extra modules that have to come into play. There's another version called the GS, and it's more sporty. It got some more black trims all over, and even the interior sort of gives it a more sporty kind of look, and some of them have got those extended dish kind of bumpers, so it kind of makes it look like a sporty Harrier. There's a certain Harrier that was called something, I forget its name. It had golden rims, and Toyota sold it also. So the GS kind of takes over that position. It's kind of lower, thin tires, and more sporty, and it even has got a different sounding exhaust, but the engine is the same, the 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. However, in 2017, Toyota added another engine onto the Harrier for people who love speed, performance, power, and it has about 231 horsepower, a 2-liter turbocharged engine.
No matter the engine you go for, all of them are generally reliable with good servicing and maintenance.
Toyota changed the layout of the Harrier completely from the previous version, and I think that was one of the best decisions they made when they made this third generation. One of the things that you notice is that it's got this piano black kind of accents on the dash, which some people struggle with because they just don't like the scratches that easily come. And then the controls for the AC and everything are touch sensitive, so you just have to tap. There's no physical buttons for that. I think this car is about 8 years now, and everything 8 years now, and everything seems to be holding up quite well. Quite unique storage spots that you can easily probably put your key or maybe your phone. Just make sure you don't forget things there, because it's quite a hidden storage, and you also have one on the driver's side. Most of the people that drive this car are like my wife, for example, and they like to carry some of these fantastic jerry cans. I call them jerry cans because I feel like they're unreasonably huge. Now, this is a test to find out if actually this car can hold one. If it does, then maybe I might consider getting one for her. Unfortunately not. Let's try another way. Let's see if this is movable. If I move this cup holder by one step there, it still goes in, but if you can feel like, you can hear that the plastic is also struggling just to hold this cup. So if you're the kind of person that likes to have these around whenever you drive, I'm sorry to tell you that it might be a bit of a challenge. Might rather buy, this is also my wife's, probably one of these rather than these, because yeah, definitely there's a struggle for space for this cup. But if you move this around maybe to this point, then you might but you find that it still struggles to, and you see, I don't want to break stuff. There's though there's also another storage here, but you see the cup kind of doesn't sit quite right. So all the people that like using these branded cups that are probably more or less jerry cans, maybe you might want to switch to one of these for a better kind of storage. So you could easily put two of these here, and you'll be actually quite comfortable. One here and one here.
This car gives you quite a welcoming experience. It has a very nice concierge-like experience. Everything is right where you want it to be. All the seats feel extremely comfortable. The layout of the dashboard is very, very appealing to anybody that would be interested. And there's still storage somewhere. You'll find where to put that jerry can that you've always loved to. My God, the seats, very comfortable.
If you're the kind that enjoys being driven, because this can be also a passenger car, you have a driver and you'd rather be driven, you're a lady, you might have some room here for a cup of this size. I think it's about 800 mils or something like that. And this is my comfortable driving position. I'm going to show you what it feels like when I'm sitting in the rear. This is very impressive, especially considering the fact that this car, when you look at it on the outside, it feels like it looks smaller than the previous generation Harrier. But for them to pull off this kind of legroom, I think anybody my height would probably be comfortable. And even when it comes to the headroom, very satisfactory. You can also recline these rear seats and make yourself comfortable on a long journey, or your children. This is a very nice car, but the quality of the interior of this Harrier is slightly, it's good, it's nice, but it might be, the previous Harrier might have a better quality of interior, especially in some of these. Let me show you. Like this area is more of a tougher, more rigid plastic. If we talk about the dash, you want to come closer, you find that it's nicely padded or softened, but it doesn't have that executive or premium feel that you would expect from the Harriers like you had them previously. When you come to some of these areas down here, you find that, okay, it could be better, especially for the name that it has. When you come also to some of these areas like here, it's maybe you would expect it to be actual wood, but it's accented wood plastic. The Toyota really tried to maintain the brilliance, the luxury that comes with the Harrier, because whoever buys a Harrier is looking for a certain quality that is not found in the RAV4 and at a reasonable price point. So even in this third generation, you find that Toyota worked hard to bring up to the level of luxury that is expected for a Harrier. Now, there's some things that we're gonna talk about just keep watching, because this car might not be as Harrier as you think. Now, here's the tricky thing. You know, usually when you have the older second generation Harrier, this the one they call Kaundo, you want to upgrade to the newer Harrier. Okay, now you would expect that the luxury, the comfort that you have in the older Harrier, you're going to get better in the newer Harrier. Now, as much as that might be close to the truth, Toyota had a tough decision to make. You know, in 1997, when Toyota released the Harrier, they also released the Lexus RX. Now, the RX was pretty much the Harrier, but with a Lexus badge at the front, you know, at the front. Now, the difference was that the Lexus had leather all over the place, electric this, electric that, you could adjust the steering electronically and everything. Now, Toyota continued with that Lexus badge on the Kaundo. Okay, so the Kaundo had that. If it was a Lexus, then it would, you know, have everything: the panoramic glass roof, the leather seats and what, but at a different price point. So if you couldn't afford the Lexus RX Kaundo looking like, then you might as well just buy a Harrier, and you probably would enjoy almost the same things: leather seats, the leather everywhere, the soft, you electronically adjust the steering, and all these fancy things that you probably get on a Lexus. So Toyota had a tough decision to make, and you might understand, and also sometimes somebody not understand, because Toyota had to keep selling the Harrier, and yet they also wanted to keep selling the Lexus RX. And so in order to maximize the profit on the Lexus RX and also maximize the profit on the Harrier had to take a different direction. And this is where my you want to ask yourself whether you want to buy this Harrier or the newer versions as well, because this Harrier had to change the frame. This Harrier is not at all the same as the Lexus RX from 2014 and above. This Harrier is actually based on the MC platform, which is in the Toyota RAV4 2014 until 2019. And so everything about this car is the RAV4, including the engine. What Toyota really worked hard to do was to make this a super luxurious RAV4. Okay, so they padded everywhere. There's, the headliner is nicely thick, the pillars are nicely padded, the engine, I showed you the engine is nicely padded, so there's minimal noise from the outside. The windows are also slightly thicker than the RAV4. Everything here is soft. The seats are very comfortable, they're very soft and nice. When you're driving, everything is just quite comfortable. However, everything, suspension, frame, engine, everything is a Toyota RAV4. So that means, yes, it's a lighter car, yes, it's more fuel efficient than the previous Harrier Kawundo by far, but you also find that you're missing out on some power because the previous Harrier is more powerful than this one, unless you get, say, the 2.5 liter or the 2-liter turbo, which is a 2017 model. So if you want the Lexus experience that you were enjoying in the Toyota Harrier, then you might want to go for the Lexus RX, because Toyota sort of took away the elegance of the Lexus DNA from the Harrier and just gave it Toyota DNA. So RAV4, and if you find some of these materials on the interior, some of them are not as Harrier as they used to be in the Kawundos and the previous models. This is a totally different vehicle. It's based on the RAV4, and even the 2020 model, the fancier RAV4 Harrier, is actually based on the RAV4. So if you buy this Harrier, you're actually buying a RAV4. Now that brings me to the question why this car is overly priced, because I feel like its price is overrated. It's a RAV4, but a high premium RAV4, or like a luxurious RAV4. And so I don't think, in my opinion, it has to be almost the same price as the Lexus NX, because the Lexus NX is also based on this vehicle, the frame and everything. It's also based on the RAV4, but now a much more luxurious Harrier or much more luxurious RAV4. Let me know what you think. If I had some extra, maybe $10,000 or so, I would more easily go for. I'd rather go for the Lexus NX or the Lexus RX, just so I can get what I was experiencing in the Harriers, the Kawundos and before, and continue with that kind of experience, because this kind of took away a bit of the experience that you would enjoy in the Toyota Harrier.
The Lexus RX was given the frame of the Toyota Kluger, and definitely it's a much more comfortable vehicle because of the longer wheelbase. This is a vehicle that will give you the exact reminder of what it feels like to have a Toyota Harrier.
As you drive, you actually realize that this car has auto start-stop technology. So I don't know how Toyota did it, unlike other brands, because I think you can still use a normal battery or the cheaper batteries and still manage to do the automatic start stop. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the things that Toyota did to help with fuel economy, and I think it works, and you don't even hear it because the car has been really well padded. So I think it's a feature that you'll enjoy. But as you might notice, you find that it's not as silent as the previous Harriers were in terms of driving experience. So it feels lighter, it feels more like a Toyota RAV4, I'll be honest. I believe that this car is a cruiser. Like, it's one of those cars, you don't buy this car because you want power. If you want that, then you go for the Subaru Forester, or you go for the Mazda CX-5, actually, because this is a car that you will kind of put you in the position of choosing between Forester, this, or the Mazda CX-5, and all those different cars have different requirements. But this, for example, this Harrier is the car that you buy if you just want predictability, you want a really low cost of maintenance, you just want to drive your car, wake up every morning, it starts, you don't have any crazy warnings on the dashboard, and you also just want to maintain your mechanic that you've had for the last maybe 15 years or whatever. You don't want to change into some random new mechanic, and you also just are not so keen on exploring new ideas. You just want a Toyota, and you want a nice looking Toyota, then yeah, this is one of those cars. This is a car that you would easily go for. Most of the time, one reason what would take you to get maybe the Forester of the same year will probably be price, because 2016 Harrier is maybe about 16 million more than a 2016 Forester. So if you don't have that extra 16 million and you don't want to borrow, then you get the Forester, because it's also actually equally as good. You just have to make sure you're good with maintenance. If you have maybe the money, the 80 million, 76 to 80, then yeah, why don't you get a 2016 Harrier, especially if you are looking for an SUV, a Toyota SUV that is raised and you're looking for predictability. The challenge you might have is that if you get a Premium Plus or Elegance, then you find that Premium Plus or Premium, you find that it's really, you'll be challenged when it comes to ground clearance, because the nose is quite elongated and quite low. So I mean, why would you put yourself in a position where you buy a car like this and then you start racing it, putting spacers? I think that was something that even the latest Harrier has that issue. You find that it's quite low, especially for the latest models. This car is more of a cruiser, so if you love driving, say 70, 80, 100, and you go for a long journey, you actually won't feel the fatigue, because it swallows up the bumps better than the RAV4. It still feels like a RAV4, but imagine buying a RAV4 basic and then you pimp it up, give it fancy seats, give it a very nice interior, give it a very, very nice sound installation and all that. That's what this car is like. For some of you that think Toyota makes light cars, it's possible, but when you touch the quality of this car, it's quite reinforced than lower or the cheaper Toyotas. Now, Toyota, even with this kind of size of engine, they have worked so hard to make it Harrier quality. They pad this area as well as possible to make sure that the noise from the engine doesn't get into the cabin of the car. Yeah, when it comes to this Elegance version, I like it because you've got the electronically adjusted seats, which adds to luxury. It's always nicer when you don't have to pump your seat or twist things or pull things all over the place just to make yourself comfortable, but just tap a few things and the seat gets to where you want it to be. Isn't it too high? There's some things that really frustrate me about owning the Toyota Harrier 3rd generation, and let's talk about them. This white piece can easily be yanked off while you're in traffic. This black piece can be stolen right in your face. This plastic can be yanked off while you're parked somewhere and the big one come. So you literally have to like put almost CCTV on your car just to own it, because you have to lock literally everything, even these fog lights. You have to lock them in. You have to lock in this grill. You literally have to lock in all these tow hook covers. Everything, you literally just have to. What they really did well, what Toyota did well, was to make sure that the area is not that hanging black thing, but the shark fin kind. So
the Toyota Harrier is one of those SUVs that you will buy because you're looking for predictability. It's a very comfortable. Its seats are very commendable. If you can go past the thought that it is a RAV4, a rebadged RAV4, then it's actually a very reliable, very fuel efficient family vehicle that can work for many, many years. It would just be a challenge if you have been used to the comfort of the Toyota Harrier and you want the same comfort or something better. Then you're better off going for the Lexus RX, and you will get comfort that you have never experienced before. Thanks for watching, and remember to hit the subscribe button and share this video with a friend.